I used to love Marvel movies, the whole cinematic universe. What happened to it? This is something that people are still talking about to this day, because it's like, bro, what happened to this massive franchise and universe really that we cared so much about? It was an event. You had to be there for every single thing that came out. And then all of a sudden, this massive fan of years and years, a decade, in myself and many others, doesn't care about anything that's coming out nowadays, bar maybe like 5% of the things. I think it comes down to storytelling. In my experience doing a lot of marketing, running my own business, and a lot of that being content creation and storytelling, a lot of it comes down to that and the ability to delay the gratification. Because if we think about what they did in the Golden Era, like the Infinity Saga, Phase 1, 1 through all of that, they were establishing characters. They'd take their time, they'd tease things across movies, they'd be testing what people were interested in, because they were keeping their eyes on the forums, all the stuff that we were saying, what people wanted to see, which teasers and Easter eggs that they had, and they would lean into with their teasers, with their trailers, with all of their build-ups. And they built this thing across time. But it wasn't just that, it was the way that they built it up. It wasn't blam, here's the thing straight out the gate. Imagine with Endgame if they were like, yep, this is the one that Tony Stark dies. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that. But if they had have just dropped that, instead of building up to this, showing us where he started at the very beginning of it, being the complete opposite of that, to then making that sacrifice play in the end and teasing that all throughout. Cap would always be like, you never want to make the sacrifice play. Every single movie that would come up and you'd be like, nah, he is, isn't he? And to have that finally pay off was monumental. And it was something that didn't come from just boom, dropped it, here it is. Like Rhodey with the tank story. Boom, you're looking for this. But nowadays, with a lot of their story, and that's just one example, with a lot of their storytelling nowadays, it's pretty much, boom, one movie, here you go, you got to know everything about this person and care about them now, because we say so. Here's all of that origin stuff, all of the emotional connection that you'd have with them, right in one spot, care about them now. And it's like they're almost forcing things instead of storytelling. And look, earlier phase Marvel stuff was not all great. I saw Thor 2. It was not fun. I haven't watched that again in a while. But the fact is that they still gave it time. Think about how many times our favorite characters showed up across those movies until Endgame. Captain America, 7 to 9 times. Iron Man, 9 times. Thor, 7 times. All these people. Black Widow was even like 6 to 9 times or something like that. But a lot of times we got to spend with these characters instead of just boom, all these characters, all these emotional things happening to them in Endgame and beyond. And the fact is they haven't necessarily tried to, it doesn't seem that they've built stuff the same way that they did before. And that just means that we lose interest as a result of that and aren't really going to care about as much about what is happening. And that's something that you can really take into your own business considerations. And whatever you're launching, like I've seen it with guys with clothing brands. I have a mate that launched that. First launch didn't go so well because they kind of just dropped it, like here it is. Second launch going much better, hitting their goals, smashing them out of the park, because they've built up over time. They've released stories. Even myself, like I've had things where I've just launched stuff and I've been like, here it is, versus building a story with people, giving them a reason to tune in to what's coming out, what's on the way, and letting them be a part of that. That's one of the biggest things. Think about all the things that you would feel leading up to a movie, seeing a video game, a show being released, like Beast Games out. If someone just dropped, hey, this is what happened at the end, this is who won, you wouldn't really have the same, you wouldn't get all the feelings that came with that. And so it's taking people through that story, because that story is what we love. That's a huge part of it. And being able to weave that storytelling into your marketing, your branding, your life as well, that's how friendships are made as well, is a huge part of what's going to make you successful and help you with all of that. So that's a big one today. I'm sure I'll make a more concise one of this. This is all the art of being man. Embody that and it'll be all gravy, baby. Let's go. Boys walking.